Hi everyone. So I'm going to share another breath practice with you now. I'm going to do this one seated, and if you did the previous one, the PNS, the parasympathetic nervous system breath, this is also, I'll show you how to set up for doing that seated as well as this one. So if you know where you like to, you know what your comfortable seat is, then take it now. If you're not sure and you'd like some guidance, I can highly recommend having lots of props. So I'm going to have at least one block and a cushion and my blanket. I'm going to stack my block, then my cushion, and then my blanket is going to rest over the top. This becomes like a neat little bolster. So if you come to yoga regularly, you might have experienced kneeling over the bolster like this. Also works as a comfy seat this way. So if kneeling is not for you, then you might try sitting on your throne and having your knees down. And the reason we have this little seat is so that the hips can be elevated comfortably above the knees. It helps the blood flow through the legs all the way to the toes, so we're less likely to get pins and needles, and it's just more comfortable. It also means that the pelvis hopefully can find its natural tilt. I'll show you a little bit what this looks like from the side. So if I stick my tailbone out, hopefully you can see that I'm tilting the pelvis that way, which I think is anteriorly. Not sure, don't quote me on that. And then we tilt it the other way, which I think is posteriorly. From the back, as in it's tilting from the back. And so you can find a place in the middle. Sit bones, you want to find those as well. So you kind of nestle down as if you were nestling down on a nest. So find your sit bones. Those are the bones at the very base of your buttocks, the top of the thighs. So settle down and then tilt your pelvis a couple of times forward and back. And you can do this here or in the kneeling position. If you're in a chair, you could do it then as well. Yeah. If you're in a chair, make sure that your feet are touching either the floor or you know, some feet are on some kind of surface, a hard surface, so the feet are grounded. You feel connected to the floor, to the earth. If you're in an armchair or a squishy chair on the sofa, maybe sit off the back of the sofa so that you're not tilting the pelvis and you can feel some length through the side body. We're not looking for like stock straight up. That's not what this is about. If you have a meditation practice and if you've meditated with me, you'll know that we're not looking for that in our meditation practice. The spine has a natural curve in it, and we don't, you know, to find a sort of a straight spine is a physiological impossibility anyway, as long as we're erect. So we let our spine sit in its natural curves. Our body, the kind of tissues, the muscles, all the connective tissue, ligaments, tendons and so on, the fascia is supporting our skeletal structure. So if we completely relax and our skeletal structure remains there as well. So there's this play between the two, this kind of correspondence always between the skeletal structure and the soft tissue, the musculature and the soft tissue and the connective tissue of the body. So they're always kind of in correspondence, always communicating with each other. So, sorry, that was a bit of a tangent. We just come back to finding our sit bones and then the posterior and anterior tilt of the pelvis, and then find your middle. So we have pelvis, waist, rib cage, shoulders, skull. So just see if you can find your middle place there. I'm going to sway a little bit back and forth, side to side, until I find my middle. Okay, and then I'm going to let my belly relax. Okay, so belly and then diaphragm is relaxing. If you're doing the parasympathetic nervous system breath, so the one I did lying down, but you want to do it seated, this is where you'll find it, and you'll bring your hands on your hips, slide them up your waist, round your ribs, and you can find your side ribs there. Breathing into the side ribs. Okay, so if you were to do that, that's how you'd find it seated. We're going to do what's commonly called square breathing now. So when would you not do this practice? If you're pregnant, if you know for any reason that you shouldn't hold your breath, if you don't want to. I think those are the three main reasons. Yeah. So if you're comfortable with that and you know that this will be an okay practice for you, we're going to breathe in for a count of 4. Hold the breath at the top of the inhale. We're going to hold the breath in the rib cage rather than in the throat. Yeah, because we don't want to create extra tension around the throat and around the neck and the jaw. There's enough there already, I think. Hold the breath for a count of 4. Breathe out for 4. That's why it's called the square. Pause at the bottom of the exhale for 4. Breathe in for 4. So that's your square. Yeah. If you are not holding your breath, you can do a similar exercise where you simply breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4. You breathe in down into the belly, rib cage, collarbones, and breathe out collarbones, rib cage, belly. I'm going to be directing the square breath now though, square breathing. Okay. So let's take a breath in and out just together. Just kind of get rid of all that chat. And then feeling free to place your hands wherever feels relevant and comfortable for you. I'm going to have one hand on my belly, and this is kind of, again, it acts as manual feedback, and the other hand on my sort of like my heart center, really, just because it feels nice, it feels good to do it, especially in these times. However, just because my hands are on the front of my body, it doesn't mean I'm neglecting the back of my body. So when we breathe, although we know we breathe into the lungs, of course, and we might hear this a lot, yoga teachers say breathe into the hips or breathe into your little toe. Like, obviously we know physiologically we can't breathe into those spaces. When we breathe, the breath impacts on the surrounding tissue. The diaphragm, which is integral in breathing, moves down into the abdomen. Our ribs move out, expanding. The back ribs too. The shoulder blades move. You know, everything really, especially around the lungs, is moving. And then, of course, we know, we can remember our GCSE biology, the oxygen comes into the lungs, it then goes into all of the blood cells, and those cells travel, they travel around the whole of the body, oxygenating the body. We need this to live, and then the blood cells take away anything we don't need. So, although, yeah, you know, physiologically we're not breathing into the hips or wherever, we are breathing everywhere in our bodies. Every breath we take in is going to all of the cells in our body. So you can think about it in that way. Okay, enough chat now. So breath in together. And breath out. Sighing the breath out. Again, this helps to stimulate our vagal tone. I'll talk more on the vagal tone and vagus nerve another time. Sighing the breath out with sound, just getting rid of the tension. Any residual tension. Okay, and so yeah, I'm going to place my hands where it is relevant to me. Place them where it's relevant to you. And let's begin breathing in for 4. Breathe into the belly, rib cage, chest, collarbones. Hold at the top of the in-breath. Hold the breath in the rib cage rather than the throat. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4. Collarbones, rib cage, belly. Pause. 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. Breathe out. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. Pause. Breathing in. Hold. Breathing out. Breathing. Pause. Breathing in. Hold at the top of the in-breath. Breathing out. Pause. Breathing in. Hold. Breathing out. Pause. Breathing in. Hold. Breathing out. Pause. Breathing in. Hold. Breathing out. Pause. And continuing breathing in your own time. If any tension has started to build anywhere in the body, see if you can soften, let it out with the out breath. Try not to create tension when you're holding the breath. Take 3 more of these in your own time. you haven't already, just resting your hands down. Maybe keep your eyes closed for a few moments longer if they are indeed closed. Don't have to be. Just let your breath come back to its natural rhythm. Notice that again, how you feel. And then just bring your hands together, rub your palms. Bring your palms up towards your eyes. Place them over your eyes and just take a couple of breaths there. And slowly opening your eyes behind the hands and resting the hands down. Okay. So hope that was helpful. Again, if it wasn't, don't worry. There are many more breath practices and ways of doing things, and so on. And so I really believe that there's something for everyone. If you found that helpful, then you could try extending the breaths, maybe to a count of 5 or 6 each. But I think 4 is kind of plenty. It's a good place. You might try extending the out breath, so keeping the in breath at 4 and extending the out breath to 6, or 5 and 7, something like that. Just playing around with those. So thanks again. Any questions, please let us know.